Welcome back. It's time for everyone's favorite sports debate here on Midco SN. Head-to-Head, brought to you by Grand Falls Casino and Golf Resort. Quick rundown of the rules. We put two Midco personalities against each other. I ask up to 5 questions. They each have 30 seconds to prove their point. I decide who proved their point best, and I pick a winner. The first person to win 3 debates on the day is that day's champion. And we have a quarterfinal matchup today. It's Brian Shawn up in West Fargo, and right here in Sioux Falls, Mr. Jason Andera, aka Jandy. So we did a coin flip. It flew off the table, but Brian won, and he wants to go first. So, are you guys ready?
I am ready.
Let's do it.
Excellent. Question number 1. We're talking FCS playoffs. So which FCS favorite is going to be the next one to get upset?
There's no question in my mind that it's Sam Houston State, the 6th seed. I don't see any of the other 3 seeds actually losing in the next round. And for whatever reason, Sam Houston State has been kind of notorious for going through this before. They've been upset by higher seeds the last 3 years, and when they've gotten beaten handily by those opponents. They were up 41-14 against South Dakota at home, with South Dakota traveling on back-to-back weeks, and yet the Yotes got back within 2 in the second half. Not very good defensively. Kennesaw State, a triple option attack. They've gone on the road. They won last week against the 3 seed in Jacksonville State. Confident bunch, physical bunch. That's why I like them to beat the Bearcats.
All right, Jandy.
Well, I figured you'd go with the easy answer, picking the 6th seed to get knocked off. I'm going to go with a bold prediction here. I think Wofford is a team that plays right with the competition no matter the level. Throughout the season, all their games have been close, and that's what you need when you play a team like NDSU. I know there's a huge advantage for the Bison playing at home, but this is going to come down to turnovers. It's going to come down to a couple close plays, and Wofford runs a different type of offense than what the Bison are used to stopping with that triple option. It's going to be a close game. Anything could happen. I think all the favorites have a good shot at winning, but the closest game will probably be that Wofford-NDSU game, and who knows what happens at the end.
I'm going with Brian on that one, Jandy.
I did it with a straight face, though. I don't think anybody's going home as far as the higher seeds, but I tried.
Okay, well, all right. Well, trying to lose. Okay, question number 2. It's the playoffs, Jandy.
You know what?
Lose and you're
all right,
done.
we'll check the tape later. We'll see. That'll be the closest game of the 4.
Question number 2 for you, Jandy. What percentage chance do you give the Minnesota Vikings of playing a home game in the Super Bowl?
Well, I'll tell you what, the numbers say that they're an 8-1 odds team to make it to the Super Bowl, or actually to win the Super Bowl, and that, in my mind, gives them about a 25% chance of making the Super Bowl. However, I'm a Vikings fan. I've been through this game before. I know how this works. They play Carolina this week as a favorite, and they have trouble sometimes going down the stretch as favorites. And if they don't have home field advantage going into the Super Bowl, if they lose one more game this season and the Eagles come in with that number 1 seed, which I think is going to happen, it's going to be tough sledding. So I think a little less than 25% chance. I'm going to say 20% chance the Vikings make it to the Super Bowl.
20. All right. Shawn?
I'm going to go with a little higher. I'm going to say 35. And the reason I say that is this. Of all the Vikings teams that we had expectations for, when you look back at 2009 or 98, those teams were the heavy favorites to get there. We all thought they were going there. This ragtag bunch, we don't think has any chance of getting there. We're all waiting for the shoe to drop. They've had all these things go against them with their starting quarterback go down and Dalvin Cook going down. So this would be the team to me that probably has the best chance now because of all those things I just mentioned. They seem to play defense, they play defense, they play defense. When you get into the playoffs, that's what it comes down to. Also very strong in special teams with the exception of the kicker. So I think that's one reason why I like the Vikings is I think when you get into January, they have the ingredients to win.
My question for you, do you think the Vikings will have home field advantage throughout the NFC playoffs?
I think they're going to get home field advantage. I think it's a toss-up in the NFC Championship game. But that being said right now, if the playoffs ended today, the Vikings would have home field. So they got the tiebreaker right now over Philadelphia. The Eagles are on the West Coast. They're actually staying on the West Coast this week and not even going home.
Yeah, they get the Rams. I know. I think the Eagles will earn that number 1 seed, and it's going to be hard to go through Philadelphia. Not a 35% chance, that's for sure.
I think 35% is fair. And I think that might even be a little low of just getting to the Super Bowl.
Oh, I can't go with 35. I just feel like that's too high.
We're talking about the Vikings here.
Yeah, Yeah.
That still leaves a 65% chance it won't happen. I mean, it's not like I'm saying the odds are they're going to get there.
I know, but I'm going with the 80% chance of it not happening. So it's all tied up, 1-1. Okay, question number 3. Ooh, this one. Okay, after LeVar Ball pulled his son LiAngelo out of UCLA, he said, "I'm going to make him way better for the draft than UCLA ever could have." Do you think the NCAA is the best place to prepare for a professional sports career? Shawn.
I think so. I think it's really the only one when you look at it because of the structure that the NCAA has in terms of discipline, time management, some of those skills you have to learn as a college athlete, trying to balance class with basketball, travel, and all those sorts of things. Plus, I think the NCAA now, you're playing so many more games. You know, back in the day, you were playing 25 to 30. Now you could be playing upwards of 40 by the time it's all said and done for a lot of these prospects that are on some of the upper-level elite teams. So for me, I think it is a good structure just because I think they're being coached. I think the similarities between the NBA and the college game are getting closer and closer than they've ever been before. And the shot clock, all those things, it just makes sense to me.
All right, Jandy.
I think what LeVar Ball did is absolutely crazy, obviously. But the question is it the best place to prepare for a professional sports career? I think the NCAA right now is set up to make money. Yes, they have the best competition, some great coaching, a lot of things in place to make great professional players right now. But is it the best place? There might be a new model coming, and we'll see. I don't think Jello will actually maybe define this model, but it might give other players an idea that there are other options to go pro than playing in the NCAA. I think there's better options out there in the future.
Okay, is there a better option right now? There isn't one.
There's not. I think
there is not one.
I think it's crazy. I think what LeVar Ball did is crazy, but on the same page as you. But I do think that there is a future, and somebody might be breaking a mold right here that will lead to something happening in the future that might be a better way to actually make professional athletes.
Okay, maybe Jandy, but I really like what Shawn brought up about college. It's more than just preparing you for, you know, the game of professional basketball. You learn so many things about time management, how to take criticism, everything.
No doubt about that, but the
athletics.
question is what makes a better professional athlete? What's the best path? And I'm not so sure the NCAA, that's their best interest. Their best interest right now is to create money.
Okay,
the athletes
I will
are
agree.
in the spotlight. The athletes are in the spotlight as much as they ever will be, and I think that's an important piece of it too, is realizing that your life is now in the public spotlight, and that's the way it is in the NCAA, and that's what prepares a lot of these young men and women for the professional game.
I'm going with Shawn. Plus, there's no replacement for in-game experience. I mean, what's he gonna do? Shoot in the driveway, which is good, but
He's going to play in Sioux Falls.
yeah, I
G
guess.
League.
But anywho, Shawn up to 2-1. Question number 4. Is the quality of football better in the MAC or in the Missouri Valley? Jandy.
Well, I think the question we're really getting at here is a low-level FBS conference as good as a high-level FCS conference. And you really have to break this down. Is the quality of football better? Well, to me, the top-level teams in the FBS MAC are a little better than the top-level teams in the FCS's Valley Conference. But if you played like an ACC versus Big Ten challenge like they do in basketball, I think you'd have more wins go to the FBS conference of the MAC. It is called the FBS for Big Boy Football. That's what the B stands for, by the way.
Oh, is that what it stands for? Okay, well, Shawn.
Well, I would say the depth. The depth is what makes the difference with a team like in the MAC compared to the FCS. I mean, you look at the Missouri Valley, you still have programs like Indiana State, Missouri State that have struggled in football for as long as I can remember, where at least the other programs are fully funded throughout the MAC. They have big stadiums, they have resources, which I think a lot of the other schools in the bottom half of the Valley just don't have. So when you look at like Sagarin ratings and all those sorts of things, yes, the top to middle half of the Valley, probably comparable, but the bottom 3 compared to the bottom 3 is not comparable at all. And the Sagarin ratings really showcase that on a high level.
I mean, you've got a mid-level team like Miami in the MAC who really lost to a team like Bowling Green. So I think the middle of the conferences, I would favor the Valley. But again, those top 4 or 5 teams in the MAC, just too good.
Oh, man, you know what? I'm going with Shawn on this one because the top teams in the Valley obviously are outstanding, but the drop-off,
don't think the drop-off's that big.
It's not a huge
lower-level
drop-off.
teams are pretty darn good. I mean, USD barely makes the FCS playoffs, beats a Bowling Green team that's in the middle to lower tier, but that's all right.
All right,
Job,
Danny,
Shawn.
season is over. Great effort. Love the red tie today as well. So
Power.
thanks for playing, guys. If you have any topics or questions you'd like debated, join the conversation and let us know. You can tweet them at me. That's at Stuart MidcoSN, or to our network account at MidcoSN. We always love to hear from you guys. And coming up after the break, highlights from last night's NDSU men's hoops matchup against Missouri State. And then Brian Shawn and Greg Steeman preview tonight's live women's basketball game, UT Rio Grande at North Dakota State. Stay tuned.